Well, there are very few people trending more right now in the trading world than Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy. He's taking the stock market by storm and having some fun along the way. Joining us now is Davey Day Trader himself. Dave, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You've not been shy to point out the so-called Wall Street establishment not taking you very seriously, calling you and your followers things like willfully ignorant, saying you're just gambling and that you're going to get humbled. But we've also had, at the same time, this elimination of commissions, no sports for a couple of months, and a lot of people being forced to stay inside because of the pandemic. And many are crediting you with the huge boost in retail trading we've seen this year. Do you think that this movement that you've been leading would even be happening if you weren't so enthusiastic and outspoken about what you've been doing?
You know, I think it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if I was just doing this in my own bubble and the financial community didn't kind of latch onto it and start making me headline news literally every single day, and if you turn on, Fox Business or CNBC, they're talking about me every single day, so more people are finding out, it kind of became a snowball, going downhill. So I think I would have had an effect. I don't actually know how big of an effect I have. It's hard to tell smoke and mirrors. It seems like everything that the financial community can't explain, they blame on me. And whenever the stock market's down, they're like, see, he has no effect. So I really can't tell. I don't know how much of an effect I'm having. I just know a lot of people are talking about me.
Yeah. And even though you have bought stocks that you've said you've no idea what the company does, like recent IPO Lemonade, for example, does that just underscore the level of bullishness that you have about this market in general? Or are you just having fun with those kinds of trades?
Well, no, I'm bullish. I mean, so when I first got involved in the stock market, I was shorting stocks and I was looking at the world and being like, I don't know how things can go up. And I was getting murdered. And then I came to the conclusion or assumption at some point, the stock market was fairly disconnected from the real world, or maybe it just hit the lows. And since I basically adopted the mantra of stocks only go up, I do believe all stocks go up. There's very few. As far as buying like Lemonade, which was a mistake, I think. I don't know how I got that one. Or stocks that I actually don't know what they are. When I stream live, we have a live comment section or board, and I pay pretty close attention to what those people are saying. Now, for whatever the motives may be, whether they're trying to pump up their own stocks or whether these are the stocks that are already being talked about, they've had a pretty good hit rate when one or two stocks pop that multiple people are saying, hey, buy Novin, buy whatever it may be. I may not know what it is. I look into it, but I do listen to them because they've been pretty good. Like the stocks that they're mentioning, whether I know them, whether they're penny stocks, whatever they may be, the hit rate and the money that's been made there has been very good. Now, I don't like Amazon right now. I have $3.5 million of my own money in that one. Like the smaller stocks, I'll never do more than 150 or 200 grand. They're smaller plays and they're super volatile, but they've been right a lot more than they've been wrong.
All right. Well, as you've been alluding to, you've been dabbling in some day trading, calling yourself Davey Day Trader, but you're doing more than that. So could you walk us through your most successful trade that you've had thus far?
So yeah, it had to be the airlines. And this is kind of what launched the entire like Davey Day Trader movement. Is when I was losing and I was shorting stocks, I decided at one point, I think I said I'm going to just buy the most depressed things I can find. At the time, there were airlines. So I think I bought Spirit at like $7, and I went on a big soliloquy and rant, like the airlines are coming back, we fly in this country. And I did that rant, and maybe 10 minutes later, Warren Buffett came out and said Berkshire Hathaway is out of the airlines. So it literally, I did my thing saying go all in on the airlines. 5 minutes later, Warren Buffett said I'm out on the airlines. And from that moment, the airlines basically skyrocketed. I think I sold a decent amount of Spirit at 21. So it went from 7 to 21 pretty quickly. And I started, grabbing on that, being like, look, I'm smarter than Warren Buffett. He's done. And that quote got taken from my stream and went everywhere. And then I just started beating it. And the other old school investors, they all started basically being like, how can you call out Warren Buffett? Well, since I've been trading, which has been about March 23rd, my portfolio is up like a bazillion%. So I'm talking about when I've been doing it, and Spirit kind of and Norwegian, those were the two big ones that I made a lot of noise about.
All right. Well, On the other side, something that's also helpful for investors. I mean, you mentioned at first you were shorting stocks, and you kind of pivoted your strategy. Learning from mistakes is important. So what has been your worst trade that you've made in this trading endeavor?
So there's been a couple bad ones. Boeing crushed me. And this was shorting. I was shorting Boeing, and that's kind of when I started to be like, there's no rhyme or reason, because one day Boeing would be down like 20%. The next day it would be up 30%. I couldn't get a handle on it. So I got killed on Boeing. Lululemon killed me. I was going all in on Lululemon at earnings, and I think I bought it at 200. They beat earnings, but the guidance, which I didn't really know much about from the CEO of Lululemon, was negative. So it went from 200 to 180. I panicked and sold it. I think was up over 300 now, Lululemon. So I missed that entire ride. The CEO of Lululemon did me no favors, because like 2 days after the guidance, he reversed course and basically he said, we'll be fine. And that's when it started going up. That also is when I started my, stocks only go up. I also got killed on Amazon's earnings, which are coming up again. That again was due to bad guidance from Bezos. And again, they went back up. So I panicked and sold it. So as much as people want to be like, he's just saying stocks go up, since I've been doing it, if I didn't sell anything, I'd always be in a better place, because everything has eventually gone up. I mean, Penn, which is a company that bought Barstool, that was at $4. It's at 33 right now. So yeah, stocks always go up. That's been the mantra for me.
So has your strategy, now that earnings season is back, has your strategy changed? You said you have a lot in Amazon, Shopify as well. What are you going to do if those stocks drop on earnings? Are you going to sell again, or are you going to try to hold and wait for a bounce?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. I don't even know that I'm going to hold them into earnings. Earnings, I readily admit, I can't figure out, because it's seemingly you can crush earnings, have good guidance, and the stock still goes down. Or you can miss earnings, have bad guidance, it goes up. So the earnings is one thing I've not wrapped my head around at all. I think Amazon is going to have great earnings, and I think the guidance will be good, but I just don't know. I haven't decided whether I'm going to sell right before earnings call, or if I keep it, I'm not selling it. It's just whether I sell before earnings.
Got it. Well, in addition to stocks like Amazon and Shopify, you've also talked about other high quality growth stocks like Tesla, even Domino's Pizza. But you are also dabbling in, let's just call them some of those cruddier stocks. Maybe those are smaller positions, but why not just focus on those high quality growth names?
Well, it's simple. If you can get on the right side to one of these little guys, this is where it is like a gambling game. They're up like 30%, like what, Novin, NLVN, that was up 80%. I think on Thursday, it was down like 30% the day after. And last time I saw it today, it was up like 20. So those wild swings, for the most part, are not happening on the blue chip stocks, the more well-named. The lower ones, right now, it's crazy. It's literally like going to a casino, but the casino's very hot. So I continue to do that because there's money to be made. Those are the stocks I'm not holding long-term at all. Like if I get a 30% bump, a 50% bump, I'll buy, I'll sell, I'll be out of that. So that's why I'm involved in those.
And what if one moves against you, like Remark? That had a big gap down not too long ago. What's kind of your line in the sand? If I'm, down 10%, I'm out. What are kind of
no
your
line in the
sand?
I won't sell something that's going down right now. I call Mark the woke, the worst of all time. That stock has continued to go down, still down. But even Mark will have the day like it did the other day when it'll jump 10, 15%. So that one's been that. Like I said, on my stream, they know if I say the woke, I am referring to Mark. But I still have it. I'm waiting for it to come back, and I think it will. Just when, I don't know. Because it did do that. Like Mark missed earnings and I got smoked, and then it comes back. So right now, everything eventually still has come back.
Gotcha. And how often are you looking at charts or dissecting those? Because you kind of seem more of like the big picture kind of guy who, you're thinking about the story aspect or just looking at the numbers, like with the penny stocks and the big potential there.
So what's a chart? that should give you the answer to that. I don't look at the charts.
Okay, good to know. Then you're focusing on the numbers and for the bigger names, like the stories.
Yeah, the numbers. the names. I'll read some articles prior to earning, what they do, like what the whispers are. Is it a COVID stock? Is it not a COVID stock? Things like that. But charts, people keep sending me, look at this inverted V or what. I don't know what the hell they're talking about when they say that. The charts look like mumbo jumbo to me.
Do you think, though, as it seems like you are becoming a more serious trader, you've said in the recent past that this is, one of the most lucrative ventures you've ever undertaken. Is that something that you might be interested in doing in order to, kind of up your game and improve your skills as a trader?
No, I have no interest. I mean, I'm interested in the company, the people running the company, and what they do in the future. Charts, like I'll look at what's their 52-week high or low. Where am I buying it at? I don't, if that counts as a chart, great. I think there's a lot more to it. Like I see all these space program looking things. I won't do that. But if I believe in a company, then that's more of a long term. Like I do have, besides the day trading, I do have my own personal account, which I just have stocks I'm not buying and trading. Like I have a PayPal, I have an Amazon and things like that in there that are more long-term, investments.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of the long term, something you've said is once sports are back in full force, that you would go back to that, back to sports gambling. Now, do you feel like you've kind of gotten bit by the investing bug? Say, one day the pandemic's over, everything is, with sports is back to normal. Will you still be devoting some time to investing like you are now?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard. So my life is generally pretty busy when we're not in quarantine and life and everything is going 24/7. We just did a big deal Barstool did with Penn, and there's a lot of plans we have for that to get their gambling app off the ground. So I'm gonna be traveling a lot, working a lot on that. I'd like to, but I don't know how much time I'll have to afford to it.
Now, there's one school of thought out there that says, with so many people now off of the sidelines and in the market and, quote unquote, pushing around these penny stocks, that we're in a bubble. But there's another school of thought that recognizes that the stock market is one of the greatest systems ever created for generating wealth. And we have nearly half of adults that aren't even saving for retirement. So what say you about that?
I don't think we're in a bubble. I mean, long-term stock market always goes up. One of the things that I've been saying as well, you hear a lot of these previously very successful investors, whether it be the Howard Marks or I think the Copenrath dude, whatever his name is, being like, I've been through this before, and this is a bubble that reminds me of 1987 or whatever it may be. The facts are, I have as much experience in this market as do those guys. There has never been a worldwide pandemic like this that has caused what it did with the stock market. So I think it'll continue. I think the stock market will continue to go up, but it's hard to predict. I mean, the only thing we generally have, if you look long term, stocks always do go up. So if you're in it and you don't have to take your money out anytime soon because you're not retiring or need it, if you hold tight long term, you'll be fine. I believe that. What happens when we are back to normal? I mean, I think it's still a lot of ways to go up. And by the way, the bubble people have been saying this is going to end in tears and I'm wrong. And what am I going to do when all the people who follow me lose money? They have literally been saying that every day for 4 months now. So, I mean, unless an asteroid hits the world, people will end up above where they started. They've been following me for 4 months because they're so far above where we got in. Even if you go down, like Penn today is down 7%, it's at 33. Guess what? It was at 4. So, I mean, you at some point, you can't just say he's going to be wrong. It's going to end in tears for 4 months straight. And if it happens 8 months straight later, be like, I told you. And I know they will. That's what they will say. If the stock market has 3 or 4 bad days, they think, aha, Portnoy is wrong. It's like, no. You've been wrong for 4 months.
Yeah, well, there are those out there who are saying you got lucky to get in at the right time with this unprecedented rally, but you've had the conviction to stay in, and not everyone on Wall Street can say the same. So thanks so much for your time today, Dave. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I had fun.